welcome to Find It Naturally, natural and green solutions to everyday problems. I'm your host, Steve Connolly, and I'd like to mention the sponsors to the show very briefly, and they are Higher Brain Living. Higher Brain Living is a permanent transformational system that is guaranteed. Tesla Energy Lights Wellness. We've all heard of Tesla, Nikola Tesla, and he created some pretty unique ideas, and that has created Tesla Energy Lights Wellness, which is a vibrational tune-up for your body. And then there's also, our other sponsor is Natural Awakenings Magazine. And Natural Awakenings has been around for 20 years in publishing with around 90 different franchises around the country. It's pretty unique. And actually you can find natural and green solutions to everyday problems right there as well. Now today we have a guest with us. How about that? And the guest today is Anna Bangulian. Welcome, Anna.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me.
That's my pleasure. And you look really bright and colorful today.
Thank you.
And I love that outfit and that top. Tell me about that.
You know, it was just something, I love the color red, cardinal reds, and I saw it and loved it, and I'm part Asian, so there you go.
Well, you know, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were part Asian. How about that?
I say I'm Filipino redneck.
Okay. Oh, Filipino redneck. Now that's a new one, too.
Yeah. My people came over on a bass boat. How about that?
My goodness, we even got the control room laughing. So now, the reason you're on the show, and I'm not sure why, is because of your involvement in a lot of things that kind of blend in with what I'm doing as well. I mean, we're kind of like on the same path. And I remember, of course, you have a radio show.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the radio show, where that came from, and what you do.
I am a founder of Universal Energy Radio, and we have right now about 5 or 6 hosts on every week. So it's about once a day live, and then we podcast out to iTunes. It was really, that was an interesting story. I didn't start out to be in radio. I think this happened, we've been on the air, it'll be 5 years this year. So I have a meetup group that talks about law of attraction, about creating your own reality. And somebody found me from New York City and asked me to be on another radio station based out of New York called Source Energy Radio. And I got to do that for about 6 months. And then my mentor, Trey, who I never met in person, and he was one of the biggest influences in my life. And this guy, I've never met, I just talked to him on the phone through Skype and things like that. He really just pushed me to do more than just have meetups. He wanted me to expand and make this bigger. Well, he left the physical realm in 2010. And so some of us were kind of stirring around going, what do we do? So I did some research, and Trey and I were talking behind the scenes, a little bit about marketing, because that's my background, a little bit about promotion. And it dawned on me that I really enjoyed doing radio, so why not pick it up? So I actually registered the name Universal Energy Radio, and we started from there. And it was just me for a while, and then I pulled in my cousin, who's a numerologist, and another host from Source Energy Radio out of New York City. So we've got a host out of New York, a host out of Texas, one out of Delaware. So they're all different places, and I haven't met all of them. We've just met through, and I've had you on the air and several other folks. It's just been a really interesting journey to be able to communicate and talk to different people from all over the world. One of the things that I love about our station, though, is it's about different perspectives. So anytime you tune in, if you're listening to a different host, you've got a different perspective on something. And we're all about spirituality for practical everyday living, which this is the basis of your show here.
Right.
So that's really in a nutshell how it came to be and what we're doing now.
Tell me a little bit about Trey. Now, you've got me intrigued. I've never heard of him before or anything. But
Trey Black, yeah.
And what I want to know, though, in particular, weave it in however you wish, is how he influenced you and what he did or what brought you that influence? What made you move?
The funny part about that whole story is when he first contacted me, I thought he was with meetup.com. And I thought he was checking up to make sure that I was happy and my meetups were running well. And, so I'm about 20 minutes into this conversation, and this guy is talking to me about Reiki and energy and acupuncture and all these different modalities, energy modalities, much like Tesla and Higher Brain Living and all the sponsors we have. And I didn't realize that he found me on Meetup, and what he told me was he was going through every major city in the United States, and he was picking various law of attraction or positivity type groups, and he was looking for a group to kind of be their anchor in that city for Source Energy Radio. So he was talking to me, and when I found this, he basically said, "Would you like to have your own radio show?" And at first I was like, no. I'm just kind of doing this because of another backstory of why I wanted to get this information or be immersed in this information. And finally I said, no, it sounds interesting. He goes, no, we've had this great conversation. And he goes, and he told me who he was and what he was doing. And so I finally just said, I'll try it. Let me just try it. So, of course, we scheduled, I think it was like September 23rd, 2009 was my first, I remember the date. And, it was online. So I invited anybody that wanted to come into my studio at the time and just hang out with me, just be there. They just be there. And so I had like 3 or 4 people actually show up just to kind of hang out. And we have a control panel, and we're looking at the panel, and there are actually these people listening in from apparently all over the world. It was from what I gather, like Australia, because there was a big following in Australia. And there's just all these people that I had no idea, but Trey said, I'll be on the line with you, so if you have any, you can stop, you can do anything you want. There's no judgment, there's no wrong here. It's all right, just do what you do. So about 5 minutes into the show, I'm telling my story of really what brought me to that point and why I started this Law of Attraction meetup group and why I'm changing my life and changing my business and changing everything about myself. And at some point, I had to literally turn away from the screen, though. I couldn't watch the screen because there were things going on. And it's like, okay. So I just really focused at the wall. And as I'm focusing at the wall, this stuff is just coming out, and I'm just talking. And then I turn around, and I literally had 5 minutes left. And I was like, whoa. And he said, if somebody wants to, talk to you, they're going to raise their hand, and then you can decide whether you want to talk to them, and there's a little button or something that you saw on the screen. So I turned around, and there was a hand raised. And so I said, oh, I see we have someone who wants to talk, and we got them on the air. And there was another gentleman who called in, and he said, I resonate with your story, and I'm really glad that you are on the air, and this is a great, what you just said was, I get it. And so we had a little chat. We actually ran over a little bit, a few minutes over, so we did a whole hour. And when we got off the phone, I get an email, and then Trey calls me, and he's like, oh my gosh, we've got to get you a bigger audience. We've got, because, and I said, I have no idea really what I just said, because I told my story, and I was just talking from here.
Right, you had no idea what you had said. Yeah,
not here, but from my heart. And I said, this is what brought me to this point.
Yeah.
So that's really how I got started, and it was so exciting. And then after that, of course, I hung out with the folks that were there, and everybody was like, oh, that was great, this is so much fun, and let's do it again. So I started doing shows, and we were recording our meetup groups, and we were recording, my cousin and I would have conversations, but before we just sat and talked, we would hit the record button. So we would record anything that if we just sat down and had a conversation over coffee about energy or positivity or law of attraction or how to have a better life, we recorded it, and we would send the files to Trey, and he would do his radio magic, and then he would put it on the air. So Source Energy Radio was excellent in that it ran literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was just nonstop, and he had people from all over the world really contributing to this station. and he was running it. His background, I found out, was in radio. So he was a really well-known voiceover artist and DJ in New York City, and LA and Detroit, Michigan. So really didn't find out who, I kind of got to know him and his fiance. Fortunately, he was going to get married like the month that he passed away, and all these things we just couldn't believe that he was gone, because he was such an amazing energy. And whenever you got on the phone with him or you were on the air before the show, he would really say, this is all an illusion. Everything here is an illusion, and so you create your own reality. And he would just have us in this really good place. And as we would start, we were able to see things that happen in life not as tragedy or wrong or bad, but as a way to shift our perspective, or a gift that was given. And some people say, well, how can that thing be a gift? It was horrific, or it was terrible, or whatever. It's like, it made you turn in a different direction, or it made you change your mind, or it made you do something different with your life, or not. Whether that thing was what you call good or bad, that's your choice. You're the one that gets to choose. It's your reality or your illusion. So
right. It's your movie.
It's your movie. Film. Yeah. So that was the beginning of that.
Okay.
And Trey, it was just in conversation, because when I got on the phone or on Skype with him, it was all things are possible. How are we going to do these things? How can we uplift each other? How can we help each other? How could my background being in graphic design and printing, marketing, advertising, how can I help him in a way that's natural? We didn't want this to be an in-your-face kind of radio station. We wanted people to be attracted to the information, that wanted this information. Not everybody's going to believe that our reality is an illusion, or everything that we understand and we think is solid is vibrational. That's something that, it's that choice of saying, okay, now science is backing us up. We won't get into quantum physics right now, but science is backing us up on all what we call the woo-woo stuff. And I will tell you that if you had asked me 9 years ago, would I have a radio station talking about spirituality and energy, I would be like, H to the no.
Right.
And now here I am. It's like, if anything happens, I understand. Whatever I'm in, I understand that I created it. I manifested it. So
completely.
I look for my gift. It's like, where's my gift in that?
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, wow. So Trey got you going into really the media side, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Of law of attraction, and now you're doing more of that. You've had your meetup group, obviously, because he called you from that. Yes,
meetup group we've had since 2008. It's the Atlanta Law of Attraction and Creativity Group, and we would meet once a week. We haven't met as often because we're doing the radio shows.
Yeah.
And so we can meet in your PJs, just get on the air, and you can call in. I mean, that's the really nice thing. Some of them, not all the hosts will ask you to call in all the time, because sometimes we have guests, and so those guests get the allotted time. And there are many. We have a show that's on 3 times a week, which is the LOA Blend, and with Elisa and Elizabeth. And you can call in and ask them any kind of question, and they will give you an answer. May not be the answer that you want,
right.
but they'll give you an answer. They'll give you a solution.
The LOA Blend.
The LOA Blend, Law of Attraction Blend.
What does the blend mean?
The blend is just blending of energy.
Oh, okay.
So you and I could do an LOA blend show.
Sure.
Yeah, and so
we have done.
We mix it up. Yeah, we have. We always do.
We just didn't call it that.
We just didn't call it that. Yes,
right.
but it's the Law of Attraction blend, because it's 2 varying perspectives